friends, welcome to Online Web Tutor. I am Sanjay. In this video, we'll discuss a very important point of CodeIgniter 4, and that is the differences between a normal controller class and a RESTful controller class. Many of the developers, while working with CodeIgniter 4, they think that a normal controller class and a RESTful controller class both are same. Additionally, the working principle behind these controllers also same. But in this video, we'll understand the differences, means the major differences between a normal controller class and a RESTful controller class. They are totally different. Back to editor. So here I have opened a CodeIgniter 4 project. By the help of that, we'll understand the differences. So first thing first, what is a controller? So controller is a class inside CodeIgniter 4, and the name itself says that it controls the application. So controller is a class inside application. By the help of that, we can connect the user's request with our model, and model is associated with a database. So it controls the application flow from a view file to a model file, and from a model file to a view file. So whenever we create any controller class for this CodeIgniter 4 project, it goes to app and controllers folder. Either we can create a normal controller and a RESTful controller. Both will be saved inside this controllers folder. So to understand the differences between the normal controller class and a RESTful controller class, let's go back to project terminal. So I am inside my project terminal. As simple as that, I will type php spark command. This is a Spark CLI command list, and if you go inside generator section, look at here, we have a command available called make controller. So whenever we use this command, it generates a new controller file. So before using this command, let's open its help manual. So php spark help, and we need to type our command name, and the command is make controller. If I press enter, so we can see that to create a controller class, we need to make use of make controller command, and after that we need to pass an argument, and this argument is nothing, it's a controller class name. And also here we have some optional parameters. So in these optional parameters, here we have a where flag, RESTful flag, namespace flag, suffix flag, and a force flag. So let's create first a normal controller class. So inside CodeIgniter 4, there is no specific syntax to create a controller class. Either we can add controller as a suffix or not. So let's create first without any suffix. So php spark make controller, and then we need to pass our argument class name. So it will be, let's say, product. So it will generate a file called product.php. If I press enter, now we can see that product.php, a controller file, is now created inside controllers directory. Back to editor, go inside app, controllers, and here we can see product.php. So this is a normal controller class. This class extends base controller, and base controller is a parent controller inside this CodeIgniter 4 application. And also we can see that inside this product controller class, by default we are getting a index method. So this is the default skeleton of a normal controller class. Now next, let's generate a controller class with controller as a suffix. Back to terminal. So here I will use suffix flag. Again, if I type the help manual command of make controller, so php spark help make controller. If I press enter, now we can see inside these options list, here we have a suffix flag. So whenever we use these suffix flags, automatically it adds component title as a suffix. So in this case, the component is a controller. So here it's a php spark make controller, and if I type same product, but I will add suffix as a flag. So it will be double minus suffix. If I press enter, now here we have some error messages, and that is file exists. If I go back to editor, go inside controllers, Now we can see that product controller already exists. Let's try some different name here. First I will clear my console. So PHP Spark, make controller, and let's say category hyphen suffix. Now it will create category controller.php. If I back to editor, so go here and search for category controller. Now we can see that this is a normal controller class which is extending base controller, and also we are getting a default method that is index. So this is also normal controllers, but here we didn't use any suffix flag, but in this case we used suffix flag. But both these controllers are normal controller class. Now let's see that how to generate a RESTful controller and why it is different from these normal controllers. Back to editor, terminal. Let's type PHP Spark again. Now if you go inside help manual of make controller, so PHP Spark help, make controller command. So inside these options list, now we can see here we have a flag called RESTful. So to generate a RESTful controller, we need to make use of this flag. So what I will do, PHP Spark, let's say make controller, and I will pass let's say API, and also I will use a suffix flag. Additionally I will use RESTful flag. So it means we're going to generate a RESTful controller with controller as a suffix. Pressing enter, now we can see that it has generated API controller.php inside controllers folder. Back to editor, and here we have. Let's click on that. Now this time we can see that this controller is totally different from our normal controllers. This API controller class is extending a resource controller, but these controllers are extending base controller. So this is the first difference. The next one is that inside this API controller class, here we are getting multiple methods. These methods, if you go and look closer about these methods, so these methods are CRUD based methods. Here we have an index method, show method, new method, create, edit, update, and delete. So finally, these methods seems that these are created from some kind of operations. Now here we have the second difference is that all about the skeleton. Inside our normal controller class, we have only an index method, but inside a RESTful controller, we have lots of methods. According to our need, we can go and remove all these methods and define our own custom methods. Now the next difference is that by using our normal controller class, actually we can return our view file. It means when we go inside category controller, so from index method, let's return view, and inside this view helper function, we need to pass our own view. So it means that by using normal controller class, we generally return a view file. It means we return some layout. But when we use our RESTful controller, it means we are returning some response, and response will be in our JSON format or any of our API formats. So basically normal controllers are created to return a view file, means a layout file, but our API controller class will be created to return some response into JSON format. Let's quickly understand. Let's go inside category controller. So here, let's say my home. So what I will do, I will go and copy this, go inside app folder, views folder. I will create a view file that is my home.php. Inside this, let's add h2 tag, welcome to normal controller. Save this change, and let's go and create a route for that. So I will go inside app, config, and let's open routes.php, and inside here let's add a route. So it will be routes. I will use get method, and here let's say my -home. So whenever we type this URL, we will call category controller class, and from category controller we will call index method. Save this change. Back to terminal. Let's start development server. So it will be PHP Spark serve. Press enter. Development server started. So I will go and copy our project URL. So copy link. Back to browser. So here, if I type our project URL, so hopefully we'll see our default landing page of CodeIgniter, and here it is. So when we typed, let's say my home / my home, so it is returning a view file, and inside that view file we have this static message. Let's talk about all about API controller class. So again I will go inside app controllers API controller. So in this index method here, let's say data equals to, here we have an array, let's say name or first key will be, let's say ID equals to 100, let's say name, email address, some phone number, some dummy value, and here let's say address. So here we have a set of data. Now next let's say return this response created, and I will pass our data here. Save this change. Let's create another route for this index method for this API controller class. Go to routes.php. So here let's say routes, I will use get method, let's say my data. This time it will call API controller class, and from that I will call index method. Save this change. Now this is all about calling a normal controller class which returning a view file, but here inside this duplicate tab I will open, let's say my -data. And now as we can see that this URL is returning a JSON object, and inside this object we have some properties called ID, name, email, phone and address. So instead of returning a view file, our API controller class is returning a JSON response. Now finally, from all these points, now we have a clear idea about a normal controller class as well as our API controller class. One more thing, if we want to create this API controller class or any of the controller class inside a subfolder inside this controllers, what I will do, let's go to editor, means terminal, and here let's say that I want to create a API controller class right here inside our API folder of these controllers. Back to terminal, so PHP Spark make controller, and I want to create API controller class, but that API controller will be inside API folder. So here API / it means this is the folder name. Next we have our API. I will add suffix as a flag, it means API controller, but we want to generate a RESTful controller, so it will be RESTful. Press enter. Now we can see that API controller class now generated inside controllers and API folder. And here it is. Suppose we are creating a web application, it means a website, as well as our web APIs for mobiles or any of the device. So it is a good practice to actually separate our website work and our APIs work into different folder structures. So I think guys, by the help of this video, now you have a clear concept about creating normal controllers and a RESTful controller. So if I write some points, let's go to slide here. So first it's all about syntax. So if we talk about the syntax for normal controller, so normal controller, it will be something PHP Spark make controller, and here we need to pass the controller class name, and if we want to use suffix, so we need to pass this flag. But whenever we work with a RESTful controller, it will be PHP Spark make controller. Next we need to pass controller class name. This is same syntax, but one more flag we need to pass, that is RESTful. Now next is all about skeleton. It means structure. So if we talk about normal controller, inside normal controller we have only index method, but inside RESTful controller we have index method, update method, delete method. Means there are lots of methods available inside our RESTful controller. Next one we have, let's say, for our the purpose of creating these controllers. So let's say purpose. So normal controller basically we use inside application to return view files. It means layouts. But by using RESTful controller we return some JSON response, and this response will be helpful when we create our APIs for any of the mobile apps. So finally, I hope that from this video you got some new things to learn. So please like this video, comment and subscribe to this channel. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.